This little USB-C hub has quickly become one of my favorite Steam Deck accessories, and for a lot of people, I actually think it's better than getting a Steam Deck dock, and let me tell you why. Check this out. With one cable, I can plug in my Steam Deck, I can be playing my Steam games on my monitor with my mouse and whatever plugged in, and then with one cable, I can move it over to my laptop, and now I'm using my laptop with my monitor and keyboard and whatever. It's just really convenient, and probably the best part about the whole one cable solution is that it's also charging the Steam Deck at full speed. And if you have a laptop, it can charge it up to 90 watts, which for my MacBook is more than enough. I actually currently have my laptop plugged in via the Steam Deck's original charger, which is 45 watts, and that still is enough to keep my MacBook Pro running at full speed all the time. First, we gotta go over why you would need a USB-C hub to begin with for your Steam Deck, and the answer is pretty simple. The Steam Deck has one port. I mean two if you count the headphone jack, but it has one Type-C port. So what if you want to plug anything in that's not Type-C, or if you want to plug in more than one Type-C thing, well, then you need a hub. And here's where this hub comes in. You've got an HDMI port, an Ethernet port, two USB Type 2 ports, a USB Type-C power delivery port, and then on the front, you have two USB 3.0 ports and one USB-C 3.0 port, and then a combo slot for your microphone and headphones. Here's why I think it's better for most people than a Steam Deck dock. The reason is, a Steam Deck dock, because of the way it's shaped and because it has an attached cable that's only a few inches long, you can pretty much only use it with the Steam Deck. This, on the other hand, if you wanted to plug it into, say, a laptop, which is something that I currently do, you plug in the USB Type-C cable and you can plug in as long a cable as you want. It comes with this cable, which to me is about maybe 1 meter or 3 feet long, but you can use a longer cable if you want, and then you can use it as a dongle for your laptop, for your computer, for whatever you want to plug in, even for your smartphone if you wanted to. And so it just gives you more versatility. Now, if you're someone like me who already has a dongle that looks something like this, I've had this for years, it's worked totally great. I use it with my Steam Deck all the time, but this is better in a few key ways. Number one, and this is probably the biggest one for me, is this hub has a set USB Type-C length. It's a few inches long. It's pretty big if you ask me, but it's only a few inches long and you cannot change the length. This, because it doesn't have a set USB Type-C length, you could buy a longer cable, plug it into right here, which is the port, and you could get it virtually as long as you want. So that's actually really helpful, because for me, like, one of my most common use cases is I want to plug my Steam Deck into the TV and I use this dongle using the HDMI port. But what that means is the HDMI cable has to come from the TV to this, and then I have to sit really close to the TV if I want to use this, because it has to be, the HDMI cord plugs into here, and then I have to be sitting right next to the TV. With this, I just get a longer cable. I can run a USB-C cable all the way to the couch or wherever you want, so then you can be plugged into the TV without having this dongle or without getting a really long HDMI cord. So that helps me there, and that's one of my biggest uses. And then the second reason that I don't think this is as good, even though I use it all the time, is when I am powering the Steam Deck. So you plug in power right here, and then you plug in the TV right there. This thing gets really hot. It's an all metal enclosure. This is a pretty nice one. But when you're using the Steam Deck and this is charging the Steam Deck, it gets so hot, I can't touch it. Now, I don't know if it's a fire concern, maybe I have a defective unit, but I think this is just how it is. There's a lot of power running through here and there's no fan or anything, so it's just going to get hot. So it kind of worries me that it's gonna melt something because it's so hot you can't touch it. So if I have to like pick it up and move it, I pick it up by this because it's too hot to touch. Whereas this, on the other hand, it has a fan, an internal fan. So it is constantly cooling itself off, and so it doesn't get hot to the touch whatsoever. You actually don't even need a very big fan at all, but just having something to cool off the components is really important. And if you're worried about fan noise, when you plug this in, you can hear the fan if it's dead silent in the room, but only barely. It's only barely audible. To me, it actually reminds me of like coil whine from a graphics card, if you've ever heard that. It's very minor and it's only there if there's no other background noise. But funny enough, if you have it plugged up to the Steam Deck, The Steam Deck's fan is going to be way louder than this thing's fan, so you're never going to notice it. And that keeps all the components cool, which means they're probably going to last longer. You're gonna actually be able to touch it without burning yourself. And it gives you that peace of mind knowing, hey, this isn't gonna start a fire if I leave it unattended. So that's actually pretty useful too. Oh, and a note on the fan, if for whatever reason you didn't want the fan to be running, you can just push this button and it'll stop the fan. And another reason that you might want a USB Type-C hub like this is that if you wanna plug in other accessories, like for me, I can plug in my keyboard with one cable, I can plug in a thumb drive, just plug it into the front, now it's accessible by my Steam Deck, or if I switch the port over, I can plug it in and now it's accessible by my laptop. You can plug in whatever you want. It gives you a whole bunch of ability to plug stuff in. You can also plug in your phone and start charging your phone from it. It's just really versatile and it gives you so many more ports, and that's something that the Steam Deck just doesn't have. And for me, one of the main reasons I use this USB-C hub is that with one cable, I can switch the input from the Steam Deck to my work laptop, and then I have my keyboard transfers over, my mouse transfers over, my monitor transfers over, my external hard drives transfer over, so everything switches over and it's charging, both the Steam Deck and the laptop. And you don't have to unplug a bunch of stuff and then replug everything in. It just works. And so if you're someone who wants to use like your monitor or your TV with your laptop sometimes, and then with your Steam Deck other times, this is perfect. You don't have to be constantly plugging and unplugging in cables. It just works. Full disclosure, this USB-C hub was sent over by CableCreation, but they didn't pay me any money and they don't have any say over what I'm saying in the video. They just sent over one full review. So look, is this USB-C hub for everybody? Definitely not. But if you are someone who is wanting to plug your Steam Deck up into a monitor or a TV or a mouse and keyboard or an external hard drive or anything like that, and you also might want to use that with a laptop or just anything other than a Steam Deck, then I think a hub like this is probably a better bet than getting a Steam Deck dock. The only thing you're giving up, and it is a real thing that you're giving up, is that a Steam Deck dock, or at least most of them, will hold your Steam Deck in a nice, like almost vertical or slanted position, and that can be kind of nice. Oh, but I didn't even say, while that is a plus for Steam Deck docks, it's also a minus because I'm someone who I like to sit with my monitor and then I want to be using the Steam Deck as the controller. And if you're using a Steam Deck dock, it has to be docked, which means you can't move the Steam Deck at all or else it'll unseat it from the dock. But with this, you can just plug it in and then you can move it around as is necessary or just to get comfortable or whatever. So it just gives you so much more flexibility, I think, than a regular dock. So for my money, I'd go for this, but of course it's a personal decision and you should do whatever is best for you. If you want to get more information about this USB-C hub, I'll leave a link in the description and you can check it out. All right, thanks for watching the video. See you guys.